And of course, most viewers want to see that Game 3 because Game 3 is usually the most hype.
And it's always good to have more Randomizer. Smight being a somewhat newer Randomizer player, having played for about a year or so now, maybe just cresting that. And looks like we're about to get started here.
Curious to see what kind of opening we're going to get today. Starting with this chest right here, what will we get? A big 20.
That's totally not indicative of anything.
Nah, not at all.
Well, there's a ton of those to find, and actually finding a couple might not be terrible. Early in the game, we do need some rupees.
Already got some route divergence right out the gate. Going to left versus right. And looks like Smight with a slight lead. Oh, now gamercal take the lead. Oh man, this is gonna be tough. This is gonna be a close one. I'm anticipating a close one here. All right, what do we get? It's Burna.
No sleight of hand from Smight on that one.
Personally, not a big fan of the Burna start. So here's the hammers. So never mind.
Why not make that irrelevant in the very next item chest? Why not?
I feel like that happens far too often in these seeds. You'll get like whatever item from Uncle, and then at some point along the way in Escape, you'll at least find one more weapon.
Well, so on the bright side, when we kill our first boss, we don't have to wait for our magic meter to refill.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Talk about time save.
Every frame counts, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of which, before we saw them change routes leaving the house, the left side is actually faster if you are a fan of the MG route out there, folks.
And both players trying to farm some bombs off any of these guards, these enemies along the way. It's kind of the nice thing about finding the hammer, because farming bombs with Cane of Burn is not fast or... I mean, it's safe because there's plenty of magic drops along the way inside pots, like in the back section of Escape, like the sewer part. But having a hammer makes that a lot easier.
Yeah, not only that, but it's less time consuming. So both of our runners, it's going to be the same for either of them, whatever they find, if they happen to be burned, slow for both of them. But this is a little bit faster of an escape for them, so that's nice.
I've also started picking up the concept of, maybe waiting until you at least get to Zelda Cell before you start farming. Because you never know if a chest is just going to have 3 bombs in it, and then... Oh, wow.
Or another cane.
Or another cane. Both canes, right off the bat.
So at this point, we can turn on Gandalf mode. We have we can two-hand, both staffs.
If only this game had, like, a dual-wield functionality. I don't know how functional that would work, or how practical that would be, but...
I gotta think the headache's just around programming item dashing with 2.
I mean, the game's pretty broken. We could break it a little bit more.
Oh, come on. There's nothing at all that's wrong with the programming of the vanilla game. Come on.
Yeah, just a piece of heart from that chest, so we know that the very next chest is going to at least be a small key. I don't think we've seen the map yet, so they're still going to be looking for that. But
yeah, if they don't find it, they can skip the Sanctuary chest.
I feel like 9 times out of 10, players will still check it anyway, even when it is a map, because they're like, did I get a map? I don't remember.
And nobody ever remembers it. It's the most unremarkable item. But it would be a 3-second time save, and every little bit counts. That's actually the margin for, tying or winning or losing a race. So wouldn't it be hilarious to see a win or loss by 4 seconds over Sanctuary chest?
I mean, you could basically pinpoint any moment in a run and be like, that's 4 seconds lost right there. Or you can say it's Sanctuary chest.
Shout out to Sankart. But yeah, that's a lot of weaponry here in the, castle basement. I guess you could call it the armory.
I know, we need to get, like, a fire rod and a bow or something else. It's kind of nice, though, getting Cane of Smight out of the way early. And that and hammer, I don't know, maybe we're going to see an early T-Rock play. I'm hypothesizing how this seed is going to play out. We haven't even gotten out of Escape, and I'm already wanting that early T-Rock.
I'm willing to wager that it's going to be Bombos that gets us in there.
I have a feeling. Or not.
I mean, I played worse than 33% odds in the past. Why not? Looks like gamercal picked up that safety heart on the way through. Good knowledge of where that actually drops.
All right, are we gonna get any? There's a bomb for gamercal, and nothing so far for Smight. So this is when you got to start worrying a little bit.
Yeah, while the contents of the prize packs are the same for both of our runners being randomized from their vanilla contents, there's still a 50% drop rate, so you still have to contend with that. Sometimes you lose the coin flips.
Now, if I was Smight, I would take an opportunity right here. There's like 4 or 5 rats up in the top right corner. You just turn on Burna for like 1 second, and it kills all of them. There's, pretty good probability of finding that bomb up there. But he still has plenty of rats left to check along the way, but things are getting a little dire.
Never fun to see him get Northwest Key Rat at that, so losing a couple of extra seconds in that room too.
Alright, let's see what we got back here. We got the single arrow, the map, and a sword. And Smight will not be getting that sword as of right now. Wow. I mean, here's the thing, if that ends up being like the difference between Master Sword and Tempered Sword for the entirety of the run, that could be huge. It depends on how the rest of the seed plays out. If, we get Fire Rod and there's something in the back, or at Mothula or something like that, things could sway. But we'll just have to wait and see what we got going on here. And of course, if Smight finds the glove, he could immediately pop back in and finish the rest of Escape later.
Yeah, so that sword's a pretty nice advantage to have, but as you mentioned, we don't know exactly where everything else is, and, Kakariko is where we're generally going to be heading. We have a map check. That was quick. I think that was crystals at Hera and Eastern. I didn't catch Desert.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is, sword is great. When you already have a hammer, it's fine. It's fine to not have a sword, unless this ends up being like an Agassi to get into the Dark World, and you need both of the swords. Also pointed out that we have all 3 crystals in the Light World, so that's nice. Which means maybe we'll get that Pendant Meyer T-Rock combo I was hoping for.
The dream hasn't died yet, and as for other information that we just found out, Aghanim not required for the item, which is just 10 arrows. gamercal also pulled on the tree to get his small magic decanters, and the bushcrab had 5 ruby drops. So there's 2 more items here in the Lost Woods. Smite's going to be first through there to check, and absolutely going to pick up these bombs.
And that's going to be enough to get him the 3 items that are in Kakariko. He's going to want to pick up a few more rupees along the way, hopefully finding like 100 rupees or 300 rupees or something, so he can buy some more bombs on his way out. And there's that 50 I was just speaking of.
Certainly going to get him the bottle vendor. However, he may opt to buy bombs instead after checking the bomb locations, depending on how he wants to route the town.
I feel like there's a very good chance we'll find some rupees in Blind's Basement or Bomb of the Well. It's a lot of chests coming up. And then there's also several, 5 rupees in pots in both those locations.
Yeah, so in some rare situations, we've seen it in this tournament where Zora has something important, and that's, the linchpin progression item. Oh, we got a tier 1 pull as well. That's hearts. But so if we had to farm rupees and do so, we'd probably do so here in Thieves' Hut.
Yeah, one of the things you don't really see too often is the Houlihan play, which sometimes works out, and sometimes is completely disregarded when you get several 300 rupees, but we haven't seen a single 300 yet. We did get a couple 50s now and a big 20, so padding that wallet a little bit more. And then a mushroom. Ugh. Oh, look at their item combo right now. Mushroom, Cane of Samaria, and hammer. You think of what I'm thinking?
Ah, yes.
I can't imagine either player not going for that fake powder play.
It's available to them. All they gotta do is just step right over. So, they have the magic to deplete, which is unfortunate. A little bit time lost there, but... Oh, we find a sword in the well, so Smight will actually have Fighter Sword here. gamercal's about to have Master Sword.
Well, that's going to be a nice little advantage for gamercal for a while. Master Sword is pretty significant difference. There's the boots. Nice find. But pretty significant difference between Fighter Sword and Master Sword. Of course, when you have a hammer, you're going to just use that instead, since that has the same damage value of a Tempered Sword slash. Yeah, Well, never mind then. Fake powder is dead. They should just do it anyway.
They should just do fake powder, just to...
Fake. It's almost as good as fake flippers. It's my favorite. Yeah, the only bummer is not finding a bottle while you're in this area, but that's okay. Maybe if we find a flute and a bottle somewhere else, it'll make coming back here a little bit more valuable.
And you know, canonically, it would make a lot of sense for it to be in the tavern. I don't think either of them have checked. That would be its vanilla location. I mean, where else would you find an empty bottle, right?
Right. I don't know, maybe from a bottle vendor?
Fair enough, fair enough. Although, he seems to be dealing in powder, so I'm not exactly sure I want to question that. We're getting a big 20 in the back of the tavern, so we stole from the coffers.
Well, isn't a bag and a bottle kind of... They serve the same purpose, right? For the most part? You can put a bee in a bag, right? Can you have a bag of bees?
I mean, I don't see why not. I don't think the bee would like it very much, but when you open the bag, the bee might be pretty angry with you. So, I mean, they're kind of like akin to the cuckoos, or the cuckoos.
Yeah, they might not like that.
But we got that magic bat check, and looks like both of our runners are sniffing this one out right away.
What do we got? It's the glove. Oh, man. So, I wonder if Smite's actually going to go... I feel like he would go right back into Escape at this point. It's just one of those locations that you don't really put off.
So maybe, like, as soon as he's going to save and quit, maybe?
Yeah, so he'll go down here, check these two spots, and then probably save and quit would be my guess. Maybe. I want to see if either of these players are going to go turn that mushroom right away or keep putting it off for a little bit longer. There is that nice little fake flipper spot that you can do right south of Link's house.
Yeah, so there's a lot of routing options here. They could take a north side with the sanctuary. Smite may opt to do that. I mean, you could save and quit out of the castle, though, so I'm not sure necessarily if that would incline you to go eastwards from there. But you could also choose to go south shore, fake flipper, you know, lots of different ways to get around the world right now. But here we have Smite going back into the castle escape sequence, trying to get the 3 items back there. One of them was the sword upgrade that we were talking about. Master Sword's pretty comfy to have at this point.
And we do see Cal going for that fake flipper again. He got hit by the arrow, which actually set up the red pixel for him anyway, so kind of worked out.
Yep, one thing to note about how he did that, he took damage into the screen transition, or basically as close to the screen transition as you can go before crossing it. If you don't put any input in, it'll just, you know, Link will stand 1 pixel away, so you can use that to set up a fake flipper perfect every single time. Well, here comes the South Shore check and the mushroom. And of course, we don't need to take 5-arrow quiver upgrade or the mushroom now that we have the powder, so we're not going to actually do a hard reset here, which we've been seeing pretty actually often in this tournament, which is always a funny moment.
Yeah, you never know when fake powder is going to come into play and actually make a difference. If we had to seen that powder for the bottle vendor, you know both these players would have... Well, I guess it wouldn't have mattered, because they would have already done it. But, Smite going to be saving that mushroom for a little bit later. Going to go head on over to Mini Boulder and Cave. We got 5 item locations coming up, and then curious to see where either player goes next.
Yeah, you have a couple of options. You can go to Agina's Cave, you can go to Ice Rod Cave. If you want a sequence break with the lamp, you can go up Death Mountain. You know, a few different things you could do. Desert, now that we have the book.
Yeah, if I see that book, I'm thinking, man, just give me a fire source first, because I do not want to go to desert without a fire source. Don't want to already have a double dip this early in the game.
Yeah, certainly not bad to have boots walking in there. You know that you're not blocked by them. But without that fire source, you can't complete Lamolus. So knowing that it's crystal already, we've already done our map check. It would be very unfortunate to not have that.
I like this play of going to Ice Rock Cave really early. It's a lot easier play to make when you already have the boots. Much quicker to get over here than walking.
And of course, you could choose to either save and quit here or fake flipper to go north side if you hadn't done that yet. So there's a couple different divergences you could take there. You could check like Hobo and Lake Hylia. But Smite's going to save and quit here and then presumably head to desert.
See, I like when I have the boots, I'll set up the water walk glitch to then go like run over, check Hylia Island, and hit up Hobo. And then from there, I'd either like save and quit or reverse fake flipper from Hobo to like go up to Sahasrara or Eastern or something.
And of course, chat's pointing out that Aghanim is still alive. I mean, we don't have that lamp yet to get there, but that's really the only missing component here.
Yeah, I could either see Lamp or Moon Pearl next at any moment. And so I could be checking that Agina's Cave coming up, and then 2, potentially 3 items in Desert Palace. There's the silver arrows. That's a fabulous find, especially this early.
Yeah, not the upgrade we were looking for, but definitely one we're happy to have. No bow yet.
Sorry to interrupt, but we got a flute on Lake Hylia Island.
That's worth it.
And, yeah. And gamercal going to be able to check both these items. Let's just hope he doesn't grab a heart piece. Oh, a nice blue mail find, and there's 300 rupees on the desert ledge. One thing I noticed is if you're doing this water walk in Waterfall Cave, if you get a heart piece and it like gives you a new heart container, it will actually cancel your water walk, or it'll make you swimming again. So you have to like leave and go back in. And if you don't have the Moon Pearl, you just gotta leave.
That's really interesting. I wonder if that has anything to do with how the game handles Link when you take damage, because I know that's part of how water walk and well, it's all very complicated. The game's weird, man.
Game's weird. I mean, I know you like bonking is a bad thing to do whilst water walking. Taking damage is bad. So I guess the opposite of taking damage, which is getting a new heart container, is also bad.
Well, speak of health refills and water walks, gamercal had already deactivated his water walk by jumping onto land, but had that been the same situation elsewhere, that would have killed it. Hobo only having that sanctuary heart, actually. He took the health refill, I forgot.
Well, it looks like gamercal is going to be making the same play as Smight, so unless both these players find some sort of fire source in here, this will be... Or at least maybe Moon Pearl. I don't know, every time I see early book, there's usually something in desert. Like the probability of that is pretty high.
Yeah, if we don't find something here, it's got to be Eastern Palace area. There's really nowhere else to go.
Looks like Smight is setting up for a death warp here. Assuming he finds the big key. Just a blue rupee. He already has the big key, but he wants to go... I'm just going to wait and see what he does.
Well, it's the Pauper's version of the mirror, I guess.
I'm guessing Big Key was in the middle chest, which is why he's routing back this way. Yep. Okay. Did he... I guess I wasn't paying attention. He's going to go grab that 300 on the section there, and that will give him his money for Zora. And since he hasn't been over into that area yet, we might be getting a Zora check from him relatively soon, unless he decides to go do Sahasrara Eastern next.
Yeah, that's the tough thing, too, is because, if you're looking to make gambles, you're down a match in your best of 3 series, that might be a gamble you make, but he's heading east now, so it looks like he's going to head towards Eastern Palace. So we've got 3 items here behind Saharshalarsh, our favorite cowboy guardian of the eastern area. He also turns in our green pendant, which we'll find in the Dark World somewhere, possibly, for another item. We're going to get those 3 here in the back of his hut now. Well, we find a fighter shield, big 20 and 10 bomb capacity upgrade. Not a lot of value there, but, shield's never bad.
Well, this is certainly getting interesting. We have basically 3 to 4 items left. We got Zora, King Zora himself, and then we have the potentially 3 items in Eastern Palace to check. So I don't know. It's looking like it's either going to be Aga if we find a lamp, or Moon Pearl would send us straight there, or. But at the same time, I guess lamp could also send you up to Death Mountain.
And it could get you Lamolus, which I think might be an item. I can never remember the item counts.
It was... I know I saw a blue rupee on the right side. I know I also saw compass. I don't remember what was in the big chest. I want to say map. Hey, map.
Yeah, speaking of maps, that's the first chest of Eastern Palace, and as you mentioned, there are 3 items in here, so it would be nice to find the big key in one of the next 2, not have to do that big loop. But if we don't find the bow here, we can't even really sequence break to finish this dungeon, so this is looking like a double dip either way.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Eastern Palace is usually... I don't know, it's very often the dungeon you double dip. Oh, there's our first item, 50 rupees, so... this is looking like a Zora seed, maybe.
We got to see a nice instance of spin speed there from gamercal, a no major glitches, exploit that you can do. Something that's considered, I guess, a minor glitch, which you just release a sword spin and then hit the dash button on the very next frame. Once you touch a manual ladder moving north or south off of it, you'll then run. Well, you'll walk at the speed of running.
It's pretty comical. The only downside is you can't use your sword when you're in that state. So, but you're allowed to use like hookshot or boomerang or some of the other Y weapons. And gamercal getting a little too excited, taking a hop off that side there. Or maybe maybe that was calculated. I don't know.
Possibly, but some interesting routing to get around the blue guard.
And with Smight in the dark rooms, we know that Eastern Palace is potentially not the play unless King Zora is the one holding that lamp, which would essentially put this stuff in logic. But things are getting a little dire here. If this is a bust and you're gamercal, do you go check Zora or do you sequence break up Death Mountain?
I mean, you've got the cache. I mean, if you're looking for just straight item density, we don't have the mirror either, or hookshot, so it's not like we can go very far in Death Mountain, so it's almost worth avoiding that anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of the downside for gamercal since he'd already been to the Zora area and checked all the items except for Zora. Having to go back just for that one, you already feel like you're losing time. Though he was water walking, or water dashing, I guess, for the majority of it. And there's another 300 rupees, so we are sitting pretty. I think we got enough rupees for the rest of the game.
Yeah, pretty much. We have the dig game and the chess game, and that's it. But Smight has more than enough rupees to do so. gamercal will shortly. It's also been mentioned in chat that we have not done bonk rocks yet, and that's actually another item location. Smight looks to be checking in now.
If this ends up being a bust, then he might go ahead and sequence break up to Death Mountain. This is looking like a potentially good play to have that Moon Pearl, or that lamp, or that bombs. Wow, so Zora is the answer. I think we're out of options at this point.
Yeah, logically speaking, that's all we have left. Knowing that, though, it might be worth it to go up to Death Mountain to get the save and quit point, so that, well, I mean, it's either way. If you're already, this close to Death Mountain entrance, it might be worth it in that regard.
Yeah, I don't think this is a bad play. I mean, you can only get 2 items in here and eyes on the third, so... And you could hop into the Dark World and find out what pendant dungeons and crystal dungeons you're dealing with later. Yeah, it's going to be curious to see what gamercal decides to do right after this. He might do the same thing. Bonk Rocks to Death Mountain is more items to check compared to going just to Zora for him.
I'm just kind of curious as to what we're going to find there at Zora. I mean, if it's not Old Man here finding his temper. Ooh.
All right. That's pretty good. I gotta say, it's probably going to be Moon Pearl. That if I had to guess, it would probably be Moon Pearl to get to the Dark World.
Moon Pearl, maybe Titan's Mitts or Hookshot. Oh, we still need access, yeah, so that doesn't work. And
we already know where Flute is since it's on Lake Hylia Island, so It could be. It's either Moon Pearl Lamp. If I had to pick either. Oh, there's the mirror. Okay, all right. Hold on. That changes a few things. So now I'm thinking Zora has the lamp just to get up to Death Mountain to get the mirror to go into Tower of Hera or East Death Mountain. The seed is starting to open up.
Yeah, talk about leaving your key under the doormat. Well, we're going to get a really nice bomb jump here from Smight as well. This is probably the hardest one to do, in my opinion. You kind of have to slide against that wall with the bomb jump, but no big deal. It's just a walk back around and then up the mountain again.
I feel like it's a particular pixel lineup on the right side of the hole. And then I think there's a little bit of breathing space of how close you have to get to the hole. It's not too bad, but not a big time loss. Yeah, so, I gotta say, it's gotta be Lamp. It's just gotta be Lamp. Zora's gotta have the Lamp. It's the only thing I can think of. I mean, it could be Moon Pearl and Lamp is like somewhere really dumb in the Dark World, but...
Like Village of Outcasts?
Like Village of Outcasts.
Or Palace of Darkness?
I mean, we have the hammer, so it could be like Hype Cave or something like that.
Nevertheless, though, with the Master Sword Plus sword upgrade level at minimum in the book, we're able to check Ether Tablet. Did you happen to see what that was?
Big 20.
Not a whole lot of value, just cash here on the mountain, and none of it that we need. Diving into Hera, though, for Smight, having a little bit of a head start here. gamercal definitely going to get this mirror.
Well, it's going to be an interesting situation. If this is not the big key, then we're done in Tower of Hera. And it is the big key, so the basement will wait another day. And unless they find a fire source in here, we might never come back here. Or it could be... Well, they have the small key, but it could be a map or compass down there.
Yeah, that's true. So there's still a possible process of elimination to keep in mind here. Little things like that, you know, could potentially cost a lot for runners at this stage. Not that many would necessarily make those errors, but it's possible. Turn of pressure, it's you're on a big stage, so to speak. Oh, that was really nice.
For some reason, when you pick up the bomb, it kind of sends you in this weird state where you're kind of flipping back and forth and speeding up your movement up the ladder with in combination with the spin speed. Oh, and we do have our check. We have 5 and 6 are Swamp and Mire. Skull and Thieves are our, I believe, red and blue pendants. And then I think that was a green pendant T-Rock, if I wasn't mistaken.
There's definitely a pendant, and I think it was green, but we'll get another look at that in a little bit. But yeah, that's interesting configuration. You know, Skull Wood's normally not a big time-consuming dungeon to do, so not exactly happy to see that as a runner, I don't think.
Well, the interesting thing is this could be essentially a Fire Rodless seed, depending on where that big key lies within GT, as well as where the rest of the items lie within T-Rock or Skull Woods, or not in those locations. Another 300! Finally getting all the money.
Also, it's definitely a very rewarding boss rush of a seed, I guess. You know, just every dungeon you do, you're just getting rich. We found 300 in Eastern Palace, we found 300 in here. Did we find 300 in Desert? No, we didn't.
300, it was on the Desert Ledge.
Yeah, so every dungeon.
So technically, we'll give it to you. Yeah, this is interesting. Both players going for this sequence break up Death Mountain, which is why I love the process of sequence breaking a seed, because you can kind of logically like decipher where stuff could potentially be, or has a higher chance of locations, and kind of pinpoint locations of where to go. So they have to know that Zora has to have a required item at this point, or maybe for Smight, he's thinking it's in one of the water or one of the flipper locked locations. So.
And of course, one thing they might be trying to do now that they have that mirror is put it off until they can do catfish at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe that... Well... Yeah, that's a good point.
It depends.
Once I mean, that's what I would do. Oh, and Gamercal taking a bit of a doozy, a little bit of a fall to Moldorm. It's never fun. Let's just hope he doesn't crowd around the edge or the entrance to the arena. It's the worst way to take a fall against Moldorm. Well, no, the worst is falling in the middle hole.
Yeah, that's the worst fall and the worst way to get rejected by Moldorm. If you ever tried dashing off and, you know, with your sword outstretched and he just bounces you back, you can actually clip into the railing and soft lock yourself.
Yeah, that happened to me in my race yesterday. Fortunately, I didn't soft lock, I just fell down the hole, but it was still frustrating. Yeah, that means that a item is going to be in that basement of ALTTPR. Only seeing the 300 rupees as the sole item we found. So, curious to see if either player decides to come back up here later. I would assume not. And, yeah, it looks like East Death Mountain only having a bottle, so unless that bottle is the answer... But you gotta remember, we're still in a sequence break, so it's gotta be Zora.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing is, like, you kind of have to work, like, backwards in your mind. Like, at what point should I have had whatever item I find here, and what does that point me to now that I know what I do know now, having done a sequence break? Smite's about to find out, though.
Looks like he's gonna go turn in that mushroom real quick. Yeah, just that little fake flipper to get to the whirlpool is just so much quicker. Even with boots, it's so much quicker than running all the way up here.
You know, honestly, growing up, I never really knew anything about those whirlpools. I always got confused by them, but man, are they nice for both the speedrun and, of course, you know, randomizer. Like so.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't even think I ever used the whirlpools as a kid either. So just like, I don't know where this goes. I ain't touching that. I'm out. It looks like Smight is gonna... Okay, this works out too now, because he'll be able to go check Zora, and we'll finally get the answer of what the game intended for us to do. Now, I would laugh tremendously if it was just the lamp, because then the lamp would either lead to the second item at Landmola's, or Hera Basement, or Pyramid, if Moon Pearl is on the Pyramid. Which are all terrible situations, in my opinion.
Yeah, all of those require time investment, and quite a lot of it.
It kind of makes you think, man, I should have gone and done this first. But nobody likes going to Zora.
And of course, there's no way to know what your opponent's doing, so both of these runners may be looking at this thinking, you know, my opponent didn't do this sequence break, or my opponent did, and am I behind, am I ahead? Moon Pearl's going to be our Zora item today, though, and that is not the stuff of nightmares, right?
Yeah, Moon Pearl is a nice find. That's some sweet Dark World access. You know, only 32 minutes in. Nice little use of this great, not broken at all video game to set up that clean little water walk from gamercal to get over here.
Yep, all you have to do is approach like a gap or a place where you can fall down while you're in a dash animation. Oh, and it was green Turtle Rock, by the way. Good call. You approach a hole with the dash animation and then activate spin speed by touching a ladder, and you can jump off, you know, to do a water walk from pretty much anywhere.
Do you have to do a spin speed? I thought it was similar to how in like Mini Moldorm Cave or Ice Rock Cave, if you dash along the edge of a hole, like that's all you have to do.
It might be just that. I saw gamercal do that, and I was a little confused because, I mean, I haven't done that particular setup myself. I usually use the one in, like, Skull Woods.
I know if you... Oh, and there's the lamp! All right! Called it, I guess. I don't know. Who cares?
Well, you had the right idea. That's...
I know if you, like, set up the water walk in Skull Woods, a way to check that you have correctly set it up is... by holding your sword out and walking up a ladder, and you'll walk up that ladder as if you have activated spin speed. You'll walk up it like at a normal walking speed as opposed to the ladder speed. So that's a way to kind of check to see that you got it set up. So you might have been doing that.
Yeah, that's we got confirmation from that from our tracker dude. Thanks for, you know, setting the stage clear on that one, because that's a very weird, intricate glitch that has to do with how perfectly this game is coded, of course.
Oh, look, another 300 on the pyramid. Not going to get that Smight. Ah, shame. You can get it before Ganon.
That's true. If he really needs bottle money, he's just putting in, a safety deposit box. Maybe, rainy day happens.
Ooh, we're getting a pedestal check from gamercal. Now, when I see Pendant T-Rock, I usually write off pedestal like immediately. It's just natural. And it's just couch cash, so Ped already donezo, which is nice information to get right off the bat, and really nice when you're routing in the Village of Outcast play. So,
and being that it took us so long to get to the Dark World, I kind of like that. You kind of make better routing decisions with that in mind.
Yeah, I think both players are kind of feeling a little bit behind with that Moon Pro location. But at the same time, like, Rupees were... Like, they both got their Zora money from Desert Ledge, so... Yeah, we got the bit of a route divergence. Cal going for Village of Outcasts and maybe even dipping in Thieves Town, while Smight is going for the pod play already. Doesn't have the bow, but he did pick up a green potion. Oh!
Whoa.
Wow, that is huge.
And it's also interesting to see that he saved and quits immediately after getting that Titan's Mitts. It is possible with that potion that we have to do a camera manipulation glitch on the east side of the Palace of Darkness. Might have just opted to try and check what's in logic first instead.
And there's a butter sword. Okay, early mitts like that, I feel like it's either a gift or a curse. Because let's say gamercal never finds that for a long time, and thus doesn't do a bunch of the mitts lock locations. Nice shovel. And all the items that he's looking for go mode aren't behind the mitts lock locations. Like, having mitts early kind of sends you into a lot of extra checks that could potentially be useless, but at the same time, it's going to allow you to route things a lot more conveniently, especially if you're doing, like, blacksmith with the mirror and stuff like that.
Yeah, you could almost kind of liken it to, like, the great logic gatekeeper. And sometimes it's a boon, sometimes it's a bane, if it points you in the right direction. But we don't know enough just yet to figure out which of the two it would be. gamercal might be checking quite a few things before he gets into Palace of Darkness. Hard to say.
It's one of those locations that either you do right at the beginning or you do it right right at the end. Of course, he's going to be looking for that bow, so if he finds bow relatively soon, then it's going to send him in that direction regardless. Smight immediately going for the Skull Woods play. I like this. When it's a pendant, you don't have the fire rod, you can just check the first section of chests and then head on your merry way.
And it just feels like versions past, jumping in here hoping to find something nice. I mean, there's only 2 items, so you can find it out pretty quickly. If you find both of them early on, you can be done with it. We got an Ether in Graveyard Ledge.
We don't know if that's needed or not. We still are a bit away from checking Meyer, though. Smight now has the ability to check T-Rock, especially with those mitts in hand. He can go do some of Dark World Death Mountain, but he's probably going to want to hold off until he finds that hook shot.
I'll tell you, though, what I'm most excited about is the possibility on the table today that we may see a bird toss.
Yeah. Just got to get those flippers, and then we got to get that flute. Now, I'm curious, since we've seen some of the water walks from gamercal, and he knows that flute is there. Smight doesn't. I wonder if he's going to set up that sequence break to go get the flute right now.
That would be an incredible way to do it. I mean, you have to set it up from a little bit of a distance away, but it still carries. I mean, he checked it earlier, checked his state to see if he had it. So it seems like he knows what he's doing with it. As I've seen it described in chat, he knows every single one of them.
I mean, the flute, for him at this point, it'd be convenient for routing, or not for routing, for movement, for getting around the world quickly. Without those mitts, though, from Pod, he can't really do too much with it as for progression, but good to have. And Smight gonna go check the pedestal. Doesn't have the fire rod, so of course he can't check the back of Skull Woods. And almost mirror bonking there. Hopefully the portal isn't too low that he can still get back in and get back into the Dark World.
I haven't heard it called mirror bonking, but that's the new word for it. Absolutely.
Oh, and it is too low, so he has to run back down here and head back into the Dark World via the normal Village of Outcast portal.
You know, the good thing though is it's a lot easier to navigate the normal Lost Woods compared to Skull Woods.
Yeah, maybe it was intentional. I don't know. He does have the mitts, so he can just lift that big rock and go straight south. He doesn't have to wrap around.
200 IQ plays.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so Village of Outcasts still, you know, right for the taking here. And we have Titan's Mitts and Hammer, so the East Town not looking as bad as it might have otherwise. Oh, we don't even need Titan's Mitts for that rock in the basement, do we?
No, not at all. I mean, you don't even need a glove to beat Thieves Town, because you could just kill the enemies and it opens the door on the left side. We actually had a tournament race, I think it was in the fall, where a player was not aware of that possibility and ended up doing a bunch of other, because the first glove was actually in Blind's cell. It was amazing. But looks like gamercal is doing the water walk to go get that early flute. Saw him set that up in Skull Woods. It's basically the same mechanic as we've seen all of his other previous 3 water walks in 1 seed. What a madman.
Yeah, not afraid to take advantage of it, and this is very clearly the best possible use for it right now. We know already that Hylia Island has this flute. When we would see that come into play, we don't know, but I mean, we definitely need it for Meyer at some point.
Yeah, and Smight might not see. I don't think he saw the flute because he never did the fake flipper stuff, and then the first time he went to Zora, he went via the witch's hut, that route. So it's hard to tell when he's gonna see that island item. It might not be until he gets the flippers.
And wouldn't it be pretty cruel if that was in like a really annoying dungeon, say like Turtle Rock or something like that?
Yeah, that'd be pretty awful. All right, gamercal gonna go activate his flute, and Smight picking up a blue mail, and for him, I guess more of a blue hat. It's pretty stylish. So we got both the tunics, one in Peg Cave and the other one in Waterfall Cave. So, and we already got Butter Sword and Silvers. So basically a free seed, at least when it comes to offense and defense.
So it's looking like it's going to be Cash Smiths for the Smiths over here for Smight, and it looks like the bird is the word for gamercal.
And Smight with purple chest in hand, going to be routing that south, checking Grove Ledge or K45, or however you want to pronounce it. Did he didn't do digging game first, did he? He went straight for the... Yeah, he did. Okay. Usually players will do digging game, then grab the Frogsmith and do that, because now he's got to figure out when and if he's ever going to go route back to digging game, and it's not inconvenient, but it's not convenient at all to go back there.
I'm not sure. I don't think we did. But...
Ooh, that's a fire rod. Now, of course, we don't know if it's required, because both Skullwoods and T-Rock are in fact pendant dungeons. But you never know. That big key could be on the right side in GT, or there could be required items in the back of Skullwoods or further into Turtle Rock. So,
well, with Fire Rod, Smite's Miwad's going to be sizzling, and absolutely with that red potion, he's got a full balanced meal ahead of him. But a lot of things to check. That Fire Rod, as you just mentioned, dungeon access, and may potentially send us on some non sequiturs. I mean, we talked about Turtle Rock being a pendant. We talked about Skullwoods being a pendant. Who knows? I mean, this may end up sending us in all the wrong places.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you got to watch out for. Is there's always a red herring in the bunch, and they'll love to send you in the wrong direction. But Smight get a route in, purple chest, Bombos check, and then he might just go ahead and finish desert after this. Maybe. He might he might just put it off until he gets the flute. Because it's a lot faster to do that while you're finishing Meyer. But we'll see. He doesn't know where that flute is, and it's just a piece of heart from purple chest, proving its uselessness once again.
Yeah, so it's something that you don't really want to have to check, but at least you can do this and Bombos. And hold on, is that Super Meat Boy sprite, not a Meat Wad sprite? I had that completely mixed up.
It's a Super Meat Boy sprite, yeah. You can tell by his blocky figure.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually have seen some folks out there using a Meat Wad sprite, but that's half magic from that
Oh my gosh, this seed is free, at least when it comes to offense and defense. We have potentially red mail, blue, butter sword, half magic, and silvers, and already 2 bottles.
Yeah, so pretty safe to say that we're going to be feeling pretty comfy. And that's another rod. That's the ice rod.
Oh, that's even, I don't know, I think that's worse to see, but who knows? We could have something on that Trinex.
Yeah, typically speaking, you never want to find the ice rod. There's really no situation that you would want it unless you have to complete Turtle Rock, which, then you need for Trinex. But there's only one item location ever gated by that, so, in this situation, we don't want that.
Oh, that's both terrible and sad and funny. All right, well, Smight going to be now doing his waterwalk, fake flipper, fancy stuff. We saw gamercal check this chest earlier without the Moon Pearl, but it's because he set up the water walk prior to entering this cave. With Moon Pearl, though, you can fake flipper into there, and then you'll leave water walking, and now we have a nice pink hat.
Yep, so that's maximum armor. Not a lot of health, though, for the time spent in the seed. 45, 46 minutes in, and 7 hearts, 8 hearts. That's not a lot.
And Smight going to get eyes on that flute, and he is going for the Ice Palace play. I mean, he's got a red potion, he's got a green potion, he's got red mail, he's got butter sword. The only thing he doesn't have is a hook shot, but hook shot's not always required, and, if worse comes to worse, he might just have to do that fancy bomb jump.
Yeah, those bomb jumps,
side.
There's a ton of bomb jumps you can do in Ice Palace. I mean, the 2 or 3 that are most commonly known of, the one on the right side where the hook shot would be the Ice Palace bomb jump of fame, of course, and a couple other small ones like the 2 iced,
the freezer rooms. Yeah.
Oh, if I played Ocarina of Time Rando, I'd probably know that, right?
Yeah, those guys are great. Imagine if the guys in Link to the Past, if they also shot ice at you and froze you. That'd be great, right?
I honestly think those are more annoying than these freezers.
Anything's better than the ice keys, the ice bats. Those things they always know how to get you every time.
From Soft Eat Your Heart Out, there's more to artificial difficulty than Dark Souls.
Alright, is Digging Game going to be anything? No, just 50 rupees, so Smight skipping that. It's not going to bite him in the butt for now.
I mean,
he might go back. He might go back and check that later. I mean, that's the thing, is if you skip locations, as soon as you go back to recheck them, you lose whatever advantage you might have gained from not doing it. So we've seen it before. We've seen players. It's like a muscle memory thing. You skip a location that you normally do, and then you immediately think, "No, I already did that. Of course I did Digging Game. I always do Digging Game before I do Blacksmith."
And there's plenty of places where you can think, "Oh gosh, I just raced this seed earlier, and this is where the troll kind of got me," and stuff like that can interfere with your clarity in these situations. So it's something kind of good to have a short and long-term memory loss sometimes.
All right, looks like gamercal is going to go ahead and finish off Desert. Probably looking for those Titan mitts, and unfortunately, with them being in the first chest and pod, he's going to be losing a little bit of time going back this route to finish Desert, when if he just had those mitts, despite the sequence break, he would be able to go do Desert a lot quicker. So it's going to come down to when he decides to dip back, or to dip into pod, but who knows? Those land mollas could be holding on to that bow.
Yeah, we did confirm that there is an item on Lamolus, having already found the map and compass here in the dungeon. Oh, there's the ball.
Holy cow. All right, so required double dip, obviously, for Palace of Darkness. You had to go in, get the mitts, to then go to Ice Palace to get the bow, to go back to pod to finish it. And that puts Smight at an incredible lead at this point.
Yeah, that's a gigantic advantage. I mean, there's tons of things that are gated behind the bow that we absolutely have to do. Palace of Darkness was mentioned. Eastern Palace is also a crystal. Ganon's Tower requires the bow as well, so you always require an every seed. If only we could find a way to skip the mimics that wasn't a major glitch. And by that I mean in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, if only we could do the same potion glitch that we could do in Palace of Darkness without it being kind of ridiculously more broken.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. You got to be on the same super tile. I think it's just the amount of space available. You can't pan the camera that much.
Yeah. And you got back-to-back rooms with mimics in it, so... But yeah, that's that pod play, man. It's a tough call to make. Like,
and maybe it speaks to where he is in this, in this best of 3 right now. Thinking maybe, hey, I have to make some gambles here in order to, stand a chance of continuing to game 3. Because I mean, if these gambles end up, winning him the race, that might be. I think it reflects that, change in strategy. Well, half magic for Cold Stare is not bad, but even with Red Mail, I mean, it's always a scary fight if you have this low health. Or you could just, slash him down in the corner and do it like the NMG runners do it and make it look really nice.
or you just use Butter Sword. Who needs help when you have butter?
Are you saying it's better with butter?
Yes. Of course. Obviously.
Marginally so.
Dang it. It's too good. Alright, looks like Cal is going to be heading back over. He might be finishing out Skullwoods following the route of that Fire Rod. Unfortunately, it seems like the Fire Rod was intended to get an Ice Palace, but not to finish Skullwoods. But who knows? There could be something in that back section. We don't know. This also leads me to believe that there is, in fact, a second item over there, and who knows? This could be something.
I'm also really curious to see that nobody's even jumped into Thieves Town. I mean, there's 4 chests in the front, and only one of them has to have that big key. So, I mean, those are pretty quick checks when you have boots.
Yeah, and at this rate, I feel like Smight is bound to find something in the rest of Palace of Darkness to allow him to just continue with his route and maybe never have to go into Thieves Town.
Yeah, in his shoes, I totally understand not going that way. I mean, you find that bow. But I'm kind of curious if gamercal is going to see if Thieves Town has it after this. Because, I mean, you got to think he's reluctant to go to Palace of Darkness if he hasn't already.
If there's anything that could be in Thieves Town, I would think that, like, maybe the flippers are in there or something. Though, yeah, because the flippers would lead to Flute. And in gamercal's case, he kind of, if he goes into Thieves Town, or, Mothula, he needs Mothula to have the flippers since those are a required item. And the nice thing is with Mitts, by not having Mitts, he's going to be running out of locations really quickly, which will eventually lead him over to Pod. But as you say, that could lead him to hopping into Thieves Town. And if Thieves Town ends up having nothing, it's going to be a pretty significant time loss.
Well, we're about to find out pretty quickly if Mothula has this remaining item. If Mothula does, then we can skip the other chests in here. If not, then we have to go back through that maze again. Well, Mothula's being a jerk. It's a good thing we can actually use the gold sword in this version of the game. Or at least we can do it without using pokes. In the original release of the game, the gold sword was kind of bugged in this fight because you weren't expected to ever have it.
Oh, that's an unfortunate find for gamercal, just getting a piece of heart. We already know that the pedestal is nothing, so this was not a very favorable decision. Let's see what he decides to do next. It's either got to be Thieves Town or he's going to be heading to Pod. Those are his only 2 options at this point.
And maybe I miscounted items. He's checking this chest as well.
I'd have to believe that maybe both items were back here, or it's a small key. Oh, wow.
Well, the
And
next
also,
best thing.
Just a big 20. Insult to injury.
We haven't seen anything in Palace of Darkness yet, though. Smight just doing a bit of a key chase here, checking all these front chests to make sure there's not a stray item in there.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to be the Thieves Town play for gamercal. So for him and for all of the gamercal fans out there, you need to hope that there's something required in the back of here. Particularly like hookshot or flippers, maybe a required medallion for T-Rock. It's gonna be pretty hard for him to come back from this if there's nothing in there.
I mean, we saw it 3 times in the hash of this seed. I'm going to point out one more time, but I mean, Bombo's still out there. We do have Ether. We found that on Graveyard Ledge on gamercal's side. So, hookshot though.
First chest. All right, that's good for gamercal. So he's feeling a little bit better. And until he, well, the nice thing is like you have hookshot, but he still doesn't have the mitts, so that hookshot's not going to send him to Death Mountain quite yet.
Yeah, so I mean, and we also have the boots too, so the movement speed advantage of the hookshot really kind of nullified, except for situations we'd already have menued to it. So we're not going to see that too much. Maybe in Swamp Palace when we go there. Swamp Palace, as soon as we find those flippers, will be on the table, but without those, we're still not going in there. Looks like we had a Bloomerang in the Harmless Hellway for Smight. I'm sorry, did I say Bloomerang? I meant to say Bestmerang.
It is pretty good. The blue one is the best one. Yeah, aside from the mitts in the first chest and I guess the boomerang, we haven't really seen anything else in this Palace of Darkness yet.
Well, just a regular boss heart container, but we still have the normal hammer yump item, or the big chest. And that's a burrito, just a map.
Well, I'd say that would put an item on Helmstar King at this point. So the question's going to come down to, like, where are the flippers? Flippers could be in Thieves Town too. Because, well, no, I mean, I guess at this point we could have some stuff up on Dark World Death Mountain, or you know, if Ether is the medallion for T-Rock, we could have some stuff in T-Rock as well.
Yeah, we've had most of the items we needed to access T-Rock for pretty long time now. Titan's Mitts, the only thing escaping gamercal at this point, and then we're not sure yet regarding the medallion, so Smite's missing that. But that's still definitely on the table, depending on if we find any of those things, you know, in relative short order.
So yeah, right now the remaining items that we need to finish this seed out, gamercal needs to go to first chest of pod to get the mitts, to then go into Ice Palace big chest to get the bow. We're still looking for the flippers. They are currently MIA, and then we still need to find out what medallion we need for Misery Mire.
Well, I'm not sure if that was the last item in Thieves Town. It must not have been, because gamercal wouldn't be taking the maiden upstairs at all. You wouldn't need to kill the boss since this is a pendant. We know the pedestal's dead. Smight, in the meanwhile, though, has a crystal to pick up here from Palace of Darkness and about to take on Helmstar King.
For gamercal, he needs flippers to be right here. He needs a required item to be right here. Because with hookshot in the first chest, you could easily see Smight probably get go mode with that first chest in Thieves Town. Butter Sword, silvers for Helma probably. I don't know. Would you switch to silvers or would you just slash him twice with the Butter Sword?
It's just so fast, a sword. Why menu?
Ooh, just a big 20.
Well, I guess the Pendant of Wisdom for posterity, or I think it's the Pendant of Power in this game, isn't it?
I know the green one is Courage. That's it.
See, at least there's some consistency in this series on everything that's not. Well, as you mentioned before, not great news for gamercal. Still gotta find that stuff. The flippers being priority number 1.
I do believe this is a Hera basement check and Spike Cave check. Maybe one or the other. But, you know, that's the thing. You try and just avoid pod like the plague. But every time you do, it's always a required double dip. It happens too often. But I can't blame him, though. You want to find that bow, so your trip to pod, just because routing through the stupid maze to get up to pod is such a pain in the butt.
Well, so we need to nominate somebody in the community who gets burned the most by this and name a law after them, kind of like Murphy's Law. Willard's Law.
That's definitely what we need. We need more randomizer memes. You're right.
Hey, I mean, I fully endorse Willard's Law. It's just something that happens to you in Randomizer.
It doesn't happen to me. Well, at least not consistently enough.
All right, well, we need to find somebody who is willing to take the mantle of responsibility on that one.
You know, we'll sit down. We'll just we'll watch a bunch of old SRL races, and we'll just kind of put those pieces together. We'll put it in the hands of chat. Chat loves the memes, so we'll make them do it. I'm not doing it. I got too much stuff to do, and by stuff I mean nothing.
Maybe gamercal is just currently taking a break to contemplate the exact thing. He's, you know, depending on where you are in the world, either taking a coffee break or a, you know, a tea break. But actually, no, he's going to work through his break. I'm not sure if labor laws permit for this, but
yeah, I'd be impressed if he,
fight through.
You know, slashing his sword with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea in the other hand. Pretty impressive. All right, what do we got? Hey, there's that Bombos. All right. So we got two potentially. Well, we got one required location in Pendant Thieves Town. We have a potentially required location or item from Hera Basement. So if you're gamercal or a gamercal fan, you better hope that Bombos is required for Meyer.
Yeah, an hour in, and we still haven't seen either of the medallion requirements, which is interesting. You know, still a lot of time potentially left in this race. We haven't been through all these crystal dungeons yet, and there's still a few we haven't even looked at.
I'm just waiting for flippers to be on Trinex or something. Or Sahasrara. You know, might as well go full. But it looks like Smite's gonna be heading back over in this direction, maybe to... What's he do? Checking sick kid? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's right. We did get that bottle way up on Death Mountain. Haven't been back here since.
All right, that's good stuff for gamercal. He's finally making that pod play, which will get him the mitts. The only thing is, I think with that, he would far more likely go to Meyer first before going to Ice Palace, in my opinion. And he might even go up to Death Mountain now with that hookshot in hand before going to Ice Palace, because a lot of people like to go mode Ice Palace, but who knows?
But then you don't get to see all the fun and enjoyment that Ice Palace has to offer.
Debatable. Where was the big key in Ice Palace anyway? Was it on the right side? I think, was it vanilla? It might have been vanilla.
I want to say so, because I'm pretty sure that Smight full cleared. But I mean, come on, the Pengator exhibit. Haven't you been by? I mean, Ice Palace, you gotta see everything.
Gotta bomb all the Pengators. Alright, Smight picking up his hookshot, and... looks like he might just check the first four and mirror out. So this is good for him. Because we already know that the rest of Thieves Town is, as they say, garbage. And gamercal finally picking up those Titan mitts. I don't remember what time Smight picked them up, but they were pretty quickly. I think the first thing he did I think the first thing he did in Dark World was Hype Cave to Pod.
Yeah, and that worked out pretty fortuitously. I mean, he picked up the lamp on his way through, so checks were a lot easier to make. It's kind of nice if you're going to double dip House of Darkness to be able to get everything in there first, and then just go straight to Helmasaur King. We're getting that potion camera manipulation glitch from gamercal here, so using a potion as you scroll the screen on the same, what we call super tile, it's like the section of the game world that's currently loaded, you can unlock the camera where it's supposed to be locked, and the game only detects the enemies in the room while they're on camera. So you can manipulate it without having the bow to kill that red mimic and still manage to get through that door.
It's pretty dumb, but I like doing it.
Yeah, it's a pretty satisfying trick to pull off.
Yeah, that's the thing is Cal's going to be able to get everything done in this dungeon minus killing Helmasaur. It is going to kind of send him away from, you know, progressing, finding the bow. I don't believe there was anything else in this dungeon minus a boomerang.
I believe that's correct. We found Boomerang in the Dark Maze. No, we found it in the Harmless Hellway.
Mm-hmm. Well, and fortunately for gamercal, his opponent Smight is full clearing Beachtown, so this will give gamercal a little bit of time to catch up. Not so much if he keeps doing some random bonks. You know, it's so easy to bonk. I don't even know if gamercal's on... Is he on console? Does he have like a Super NT or something?
I'm not entirely certain. I don't think so. We don't see emulator inputs from, say, SNES 9X or anything like that. Not that you'd necessarily have to have that on. I'm assuming he's probably on like some kind of flash cart. Honestly, I don't know.
Same. All right, so both players kind of just swapping places right now. It's gonna be curious to see if you know, it might really come down that sequence break, that water walk to get the fluid might actually play a pretty tremendous part. Of course, if Swamp Palace had ended up being a pendant, it'd be even bigger. We do need to get those flippers regardless, so even if they're in a stupid location like deep in T-Rock, both players are required to get it.
Yeah, and it seems like one of those items, like, you know, either the flippers or maybe a required medallion are going to be what gatekeeps this, and, you know, kind of sends our runners either very far ahead or very far behind in a pretty quick order. Well, Smight has a blind fight here. He's doing pretty well with it overall, not having too much issue, and has plenty of health to work with. And gamercal's finishing up the last of his checks here in Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, the nice thing about having that butter sword is it's a bigger sword, so I think it has like a bigger hitbox than like say the fighter sword. I think all the sword upgrades past fighter sword have a similar hitbox.
Yeah, and I want to say the hitbox gets wider as well as you get to tempered and gold.
I can't tell, like, visually it looks like it does, but I don't know if it actually does. But it'd be worth looking into. And it looks like Smight is going to go do Digging Game now, so he's going to get his $50.
Yep, the primary reason why it matters so much the size of the sword necessarily, though, there's a couple of situations where you're going to line up bomb jumps based on that pixel, or some people do. And then, of course, if you're fighting blind like Smight just was, it's a little easier to get those swings off and actually connect.
Yeah, one of the big places I could think of where the the sword difference is kind of frustrating is like hitting that switch in Swamp Palace, where you go to normally not flood the key. Like if you have the fighter sword, it doesn't reach, so you have to like use a boomerang or Cane of Samaria or like actually go around and hit the switch.
Well, I feel like Blind would tell you that it's not the size of the sword, it's how you use it.
Why would Blind say that? Blind's blind.
Well, it doesn't matter what sword you use, that's the point.
Alright, nothing up in Super Buddy Cave, and gamercal now going to check Hookshot Cave, and we're going to get some info on that T-Rock medallion, and, you know, I wonder if it ends up being Vamos or Ether, if gamercal is going to go ahead and hop inside. He does have the means to complete it, assuming he has the correct medallion.
Yeah, that's a tough decision to make. I mean, like, where do you go if you don't have the one you need? So gamercal's absolutely going to find out, though. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't check this.
I also think, at this point, we've seen everything, so flippers 100% have to be in here.
And we find out that Turtle Rock today is Ether, which Smight is going to have to find at Graveyard Ledge, which might be convenient to check right after this, actually.
Yeah. And fortunately for Cal, Smight is doing all the useless dungeons and checks that Cal determined were particularly useless. But yeah, you might be right. This could send him in that direction to check Graveyard Ledge. But yeah, I believe we're out of locations, so flippers have to be somewhere in here. And the thing is, it's frustrating though. I kind of wish Cal had at least checked Meyer to see what medallion he's needed for that. But at the same time, he's got a good chance of having the medallion already, since he already has 2 out of the 3.
Right, so I mean, you can play the odds, you know, you're not always going to win on it, and the amount of time it takes to move back and forth between various spots. I mean, if you can open up Turtle Rock, it's best, but, you know, it doesn't take forever to get to Misery Mire, so he may have been thinking about that. Hey, I'm already up here.
Now, at this point, I think the worst thing for Cal would be is if flippers are early. like in the first section. Because he's going to full clear regardless, looking for that bow. Yeah, I'm very curious to see where Smight goes to next once he finishes off Mothkill. He's already seen what's on the pedestal, so he knows that he doesn't need the pendants, he just needs the items. And, of course, both the pendant dungeons that we've been to so far have had an item on the boss.
And at this point, I'm kind of wondering if, green pendant turtle rock, if that's going to send us a sriracha sauce and find some kind of really nice item.
You'd think with Ice Rod being available, like, as soon as they got into the Dark World at Catfish, that, and then, Fire Rod was also immediately available too. You would think that maybe it would. I don't know. You try and read the logic, you try and read the seed, but really it's just a shot in the dark what the seed wants you to do.
Absolutely the truth, and execution and making intelligent routing decisions really being what rues the day for most of our runners here in the top 64. They got here through a pretty long, arduous Swiss bracket, our qualifier, so to speak, 7 rounds of it. So you're watching, the best of the best here, pretty much. We got a small selection of people still in this.
Yeah, 7 rounds of Swiss. It was quite a bit. It was a lot. It was a lot of video games. And then
it was very fun to watch and commentate.
You move into brackets where everything's, I believe gamercal, I think he had, his races against Samurai Man came down to game 3, so he's had lots of video games to work through to kind of get used to V29. All right, where are those flippers going to be at? Oh, there they are.
Don't say.
All right. Okay. So, at this point, Smight is going to be getting those flippers relatively soon. And then all he has to do is go get the flute, and then it's just going to come down to... Oh, wait. He's up here without the ether medallion, so he can't go into T-Rock. Wow. Well, that's going to be a bit of a time loss for him. He doesn't really have anything else he can do, so... He'll probably do Graveyard Ledge to Catfish after he's done up here.
Yeah, that'd be the best case scenario for him. But this is where that, early access to certain items can kind of hurt you. You might not necessarily route yourself to certain places like, say, Graveyard Ledge as early as you would have, say, gamercal situation. He grabbed that as soon as it was available to him, pretty much.
Yeah, and as far as we know, the nice thing for Smight is that he will be able to grab flippers and go as soon as he gets up here. But that's only assuming that the medallion for Meyer is ether as well. If it's Bombos, then he's going to have to go do Hera Basement, and right now he is not set up to, as if he's going to go check Hera Basement. So there is still a lot up in the air right now, and it's kind of making the ending of the seed pretty exciting.
Yeah, perhaps fans of Smight out there may also be fans of the bird toss today. I have to say it. I just believe,
Do you have to? You said it twice now. Are you going to say it a third time when we get there?
It's a big day.
It's not a big day. All right, what else we got? We could find Quake in here as well, and then gamercal would just be set. The problem now is with those flippers in hand it's going to come down to Ice or Swamp. Both required. Both are good options. Which one do you want to go mode? He might even go to Meyer next and find out he has the correct medallion and do Meyer first.
Yeah, so a lot of unanswered questions for these runners, and at an hour and 14 minutes, gotta be feeling some pressure and tension here. They haven't exactly been impeded by difficulty in this seed, just really weird logic.
Arrow capacity upgrade. What else do we got? The compass. A little bit more, come on. The heart piece of Laser Bridge. And the cape. We've already seen that Bumper Cave was useless. Raquel gonna go ahead and just knock out the rest of this dungeon, but first he's gonna take a little dip compliments of the mini Helmasaur.
Yeah, he
What a
did
guy.
a 4 for 4 on those laser bridge skips. That was really nice to see.
Yeah, especially when he does have half magic, Caneburna, the confidence to be able to do that without even flinching. It's pretty nice.
And for doing so, he's rewarded by not even having to pick up that full magic refill going into Trinex. Like you mentioned, confidence really speaking here. But Smight does have that ether. So Trinex with Butter Sword, very easy to do. Half magic at that. Looking like a 1 cycle here for gamercal. Maybe a 0? No, it's 1.
I don't think you can get a 0 cycle if you're attacking him from the front. The time it takes
true.
for both the heads to come out and, die is a little bit too long. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting because Smight is going to be heading up. It looks like he's setting up to check Hera Basement, too, along the way back to T-Rock, because if flippers are in there, then he's pretty much good to go. It's really just going to come down for Cal. Where does he go next? We all know he needs to go to Ice Palace and get the bow in the big chest. But we still need to know what Maya requires. And if it's Quake, then both players are kind of in a situation.
It's almost like you'd hope it's Quake, but I mean, I'm trying to think of where he would find Quake. I guess in Meyer.
Quake could be on Sahas Rala right now. But he's going to go ahead and check Meyer. It's also worth pointing out that Smight still does have to go finish Desert Palace as well, so he's got a pretty good lead still because of that bow location. What do we got? It is Quake. It's going to be right here. You know it's going to be right here.
Well,
Oh my
this
gosh.
and Checkerboard Cave and Shamalama Ding Dong, I guess.
There's some hearts for you. Oh my god, that's hilarious. These poor guys.
Duplicate Cave, not offering much, but maybe a little bit of love. And the cruel fate of this seed also making both 5 and 6, inaccessible until gamercal finally found those flippers.
I guess it's kind of a nice thing to know that Pyramid Fairy is going to be completely useless. So that's one out-of-the-way check that you don't have to worry about. Well, we know that. Gamercal doesn't know that. But we know that. And he is going for the Ice Palace play, so this is pretty big for him. But until we find that Quake medallion, things are just right back up in the air at this point. We were all set on Go mode being for Smight right here with flippers, but all of a sudden, there's still more to be found. So Smight going to be going into T-Rock. He doesn't have that Ice Rod from Catfish, so he's not going to be able to finish off Trinex. If Quake Medallion is sitting on Sahas Rala, this is Gamercal's game to steal.
Yeah, that would be a gigantic, titanic development for this race, because as of right now, we've been watching Gamercal, basically come from a little bit behind as far as that bow progression goes, but now that he's finally Nice Palace, it's a lot less of an advantage for Smight. So if you're just tuning in, Smight kind of having that advantage may end up evaporating if we don't find Quake, say, in relatively fast order, and Smight ends up checking Catfish.
And I just noticed that the big key for Ice Palace was actually in the very first chest, so this dungeon was prime for you to just get the bow and get out. Or get the bow and get to the boss, assuming you... It wasn't actually, because of course, you don't Ice Palace bomb jump in the logic and blah, 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 blah. So at this point, Quake has to be at Sahas Rala or it's got to be in Swamp, and I don't know, chances are that it's in Swamp. Just based on the probability. If it ends up being on Laser Bridge, then that would be pretty comical.
I mean, also, it's funny to have it at Sahas Rala, so I mean, kind of hoping for that.
Yeah. If that's the case, though, then it's over for Smight. There is no coming back from a Turtle Rock double dip. But
come to think of it, if it was in Swamp Palace, this would be a more interesting race to watch. You're right.
Oof. Okay, I was worried Gamercal was going to get knocked down the hole from that fire bar. I think as Gamercal, once he finds that bow, he still has to go finish Eastern, finish Pod, but he'll be able to route in that green pendant check along the way, so it's going to work out conveniently for him. While Smight, at this point, will I don't know. He'll probably go get that flute and check Meyer before dipping into Swamp Palace, because both players are going to want to go mode Swamp Palace, because I'd say out of all the dungeons, that is the best dungeon to go mode. You skip so much, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a night and day difference not having to do left side whatsoever, and even being able to skip all the items, with the back half. There's still some backtracking involved with just grabbing those anyway. And at this point, there's really nothing we'd want to find besides our progression.
Yeah, who knows? Quake could be just in the first chest of Swamp. Simple like that. But yeah, it's going to be... I feel like Smight, unless it's on Green Pennant, Smite's going to be probably our first player to go into go mode, but it really depends on what he does next. He might check Meyer, finish Desert, and then make his play into Swamp Palace. Because, he doesn't know that the last item on Landmill is just bombs or money or something, but he is going to go ahead and bail out of Turtle Rock with his flippers in hand, so...
Yes, I mean, we know that, not too much time spent as opposed to, like, trying to... Well, he can't go all the way to try next. Yeah, he's bailing out anyway, but Swamp Palace, it looks like he's diving in.
It's either that or he's going to go get his flute first.
Oh, right, this is the fastest way to get there.
I'd be curious to see if he routes in... Because he could go swim down and take the Whirlpool. That would put him over heading towards Catfish. But, I don't know, man. You gotta be feeling pretty behind. Even with that early mids check, you're like, oh, gosh, you gotta be, I don't know. The seed, though, it'd be kind of hard to determine whether you or your opponent is behind, just because of how ridiculous it's been so far.
Yeah, and I gotta wonder how much uncertainty's in their minds. I mean... if I were to imagine putting myself in the shoes of these runners, I mean, like, I would think my opponent did everything different from me. But, I mean, that's what we saw on our side. But it'd be very confusing to try and place yourself against your opponent in your mind as you go through some of these crazier checks.
I mean, it's also really easy to accidentally, like, metagame too much. Like, oh, my opponent definitely did this, so I'm gonna gamble to make up time. And then turns out you were ahead the whole time. And you just lost your lead because of the gamble. Yeah, at this point, I can see Smight just never going to Catfish. He's ruled out that it's important at all. Which is fine. You got to pick and choose which checks you make, especially when it comes to Overworld. And I don't know, despite the change in V29, I still feel like dungeons tend to have a lot of good stuff. Well, let's see where he heads to next.
Yep, so his fast travel is available to him. We saw Smight earlier had a really great cold stare fight. gamercal's doing his right now. Seems to have it under control from what it looks like. But Smite's going to head towards Meyer.
He's going to get his checked. He's going to see that Quake medallion. He's going to be like, come on, man. I was so close. And then he'll probably go ahead and finish off Desert Palace, routing in the checkerboard chest as well. So... gamercal, bow in hand, will probably go finish Eastern and Pod. And the nice thing is for him, he's already done everything in both those dungeons aside from to finish the boss. So it's only going to be a couple minutes of him going in there and finishing out those.
Yeah, and with that, it's just Swamp Palace to check. I mean, there's really nothing else on the table. I don't think we've missed any Overworld outside of that.
But yeah, based on this, Smight will more than likely be the first person into Swamp Palace, but he still has to go back in. Well, he still has to finish land mode, go back in, check checkerboard, and then go to Swamp. Land mode is a very quick fight, but before that, we are going to find out what Sahasrara is holding on to, and if that ends up being our Quake medallion, then this could be big. What do you got? It's... Oh my god! That's it. It's over. It's over. Like, there's no coming back from that.
When Smight finds it, he will not be feeling smitten over.
My gosh!
What we do there?
What a terrible seed. So, you had to get Ether from Graveyard Ledge and Ice Rod from Catfish and Fire Rod from K45, as well as the mitts from the first chest of Pod, to go up and do T-Rock and complete all of it. Kill Trinex, get the green pennant, just get Quake for go mode, but...
Like, I mean, if you're one of those runners out there who just really likes to do the conventional play, the thing that just makes the most sense by numbers, this was probably not a friendly seed for you.
Yeah, I feel like Smight made all... I'd say he made all the right choices. Maybe skipping out on T-Rock once he got the flippers arguably could have been a bad choice, because he's probably thinking, oh gosh, Quake's probably on Laser Bridge at this point. And I worry that he might end up... He would probably more than likely go full clear Swamp Palace looking for Quake first, as opposed to going to Catfish or going back to T-Rock. Because obviously the most convenient place to put Quake right now would be in a Crystal Dungeon you need to complete anyway. But, yeah, what a terrible seed. This seed basically required a full clear. unless you played perfectly. And, you know, maybe the early mitts was inevitably Smite's downfall.
You know, the things that it points you to do and the things that it points you not to do. And it's hard to say, because, you know, we're not in their shoes. It's hard for us to kind of guess at, but definitely a cascade of things that you just would not have expected. And even if you make the right play, sometimes they just don't turn out to work.
Yeah. Too much is a good thing.
At this point, gamercal is in go mode approximately a minute ago or so, so about an hour 25. Pretty much just has to kill these two bosses, jump into Swamp Palace, dive right back to Argus, and kill the Pirate King, and from there, Mystery Miner, and we're done. That being said, that's still a lot of dungeon completion left to do.
Yeah, and gamercal gets the benefit of go moding both Swamp and Mire, just based on that. But yeah, that's pretty insane, the things that the seed required you to do. And it looks like Smite's gonna be heading to the Dark World to head up to Catfish at this point. He'll get his Ice Rod, or no, he's probably gonna go to Swamp. I'm just curious why he fluted to the dam instead of the 4. Catfish is probably the worst location in the game. Probably the worst overworld location in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, very annoying to get to. The only upside to it is that you can mirror to Zora, which generally you would check before you go to Catfish anyway, in most situations. I don't know, there's just not a lot of good things about it.
The hard part is just, like, if you don't route it in at the beginning, when do you route it? I mean, even with boots, it's still kind of out of the way to route, unless you went for... Well, no, because you couldn't have done what we wanted to do, because Zora having Moon Pearl kind of ruined the whole concept of going to the Dark World and mirror, check Catfish and then mirror to check Zora. So the seed was kind of set up for you to not conveniently check it.
Well, in spite of, what has kind of transpired for Smite's logical progression in the seed, I definitely think both of these runners have put on a fantastic show for us today. This has been an exciting race to watch.
Yeah.
I'm sure you probably feel the same.
It's pretty amazing, and probably one of the key factors of why randomizers in general are such a thrill to watch, just because of how one single location or two locations or one choice, one decision can completely sway the results. And early mitts, or gamercal getting the mitts relatively late caused him to basically full clear everything he could before getting them, which rewarded him with the Ice Rod, which just so happened to end up being required for go mode. So this easily could have gone in either player's direction, and it's kind of the thrill of it all. What a thrill.
And it speaks to their courage to come in front of this many people to do this as well. I mean, I know my nerves were shot when I had a restream, and that was not to nearly as many people as I'm sure are watching right now. This is getting pretty close to the down to the end of the wire here. But if you've enjoyed what you've watched so far today, folks, highly recommend you give these runners a follow. They're definitely doing this and other great content. Always nice to try to support everybody in the community, because more Link to the Past is always a good thing.
Dude, our community is so spoiled. We have so many amazing people, amazing players, amazing personalities. It's great. It's such an honor to be able to be a part of this community and commentate these races. I mean, I don't know, they're a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing what Cal can bring to the table. Because I hate to say it, but this race is over already, which is kind of unfortunate. You kind of want those like crazy finishes where players finish like 20 seconds apart or 10 seconds apart. And it wasn't even so much like a dominating victory. It was just the luck of the rando, pretty much. Of course, gamercal's water walking kind of set him up for some good early items. Good early blue mail, good early flute. That played a significant part. And yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss of words.
Knowledge, really does play a factor into these randomizers. I mean, you see some folks will, practice with, say, like the Zelda 3 randomizer sim. That's definitely a popular tool, but also all of the glitch, compendiums that have been assembled. If you're part of the randomizer Discord, you can find a lot more resources out there for things that you can do to take advantage of these situational, opportunities like gamercal did today.
Did he ever do blacksmith?
I'm not
I saw
sure.
him check bombos, but he didn't have the chest with, like, if that's...
I don't think so.
I mean, I guess, you need mitts to do that, and then his choices with the mitts worked out for him overall, going straight for Dark World Death Mountain and T-Rock, and then going to Mire, and then going to Ice, so... That's one of those choices you can make.
This is starting to look like a very high completion seed, though. I mean, gamercal saving so much time here in Swamp Palace, not having to do anything but go mode it, that he's already most of the way to Argus, whereas Smite's just kind of barely completing it. After having to full clear it, still not finding that Quake. So, I mean, if you're in Smite's shoes, I mean, this has got to be like a bit of a panic moment. Mire's the only thing left.
Yeah, we still haven't seen Mire or G Tower, and it depends on where the boss key location is for both of those. Wow, I'm saying boss key like I've been playing a different Zelda game for too long.
Hey, I mean, you play a lot of them. One of these days, we gotta get some kind of Zelda 1 through 3 tournament going, and I gotta learn those games.
Yeah, I'm actually excited. There's a Zelda 2 randomizer, like standard randomizer tournament that's starting at the end of July, so I gotta start practicing for that. And there's always Zelda 1 like randomizer tournaments going on. They have like these really cool battle royales, which have like a bunch of different flags and different styles and different ways to play the game. That's open to anybody. So plenty of other Zelda randomizer action going on. You just gotta look for it.
Well, Silver Arrow's going to make really fast work of Argus here. Smite jumping back into Swamp Palace to do the left side, which he had neglected to do in his first run through. Arguably hoping to have found the Quake in the back half and not having to have come back here anyway. So this will be a time sink ×2 for him.
Yeah, this is... You chalk it up to bad luck. Because that's really what it is, just bad luck. Alright, gamercal going to be heading over to the Misery Mire area. We'll see what kind of Mire we're going to have today, if we're going to get the God Mire with like an early big key, or if it's still going to be in its vanilla location or something dumb. And at this point, we're not really looking for any more items. The only thing that's left to be discovered is maybe the red boomerang, a 4th bottle, the stupid bug net. I mean, or, 2 more shields.
Yeah, none of which would be all that functionally useful. I mean, that 4th bottle never hurts, but unless it's some kind of potion in there, we're probably not too concerned about that. But Godmire, it might still be. I mean, there's only 2 item locations in this dungeon. I mean, there's that few things to check, but it's a winding dungeon, so we're hoping not to be blocked behind a cutscene today. I also noticed on his way in, he picked up the rock and from the south side of it when he got dropped off by the bird. He's doing that to set up a altitude value for a glitch we like to call spooky action from a distance.
Why does it have that name? It's a funny name.
I believe it's a reference to quantum entanglement.
I don't know what that is, but go on.
So basically, two particles from an arbitrary distance, like basically as far apart as you want it to be, that have an interaction on each other. And I'm not sure who it was that called it like a spooky action at a distance, but the idea though for the glitch is that the fire rod splash damage takes place in a different location than expected, and we manipulate a memory value to do so.
Listen, I didn't come here to learn about math, all right? Can we just talk about the actual glitch, please? Thank you.
As for the math, though, I don't even know about that. That's just like some number. As I'm gonna quote from before, the game is weird, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. Speaking of weird, did Smight skip a chest in ice, or he's missing the maps? So, oh, he didn't have hookshot, so maybe he didn't check those 3 chests on the right side.
And being that we did later find out that the big key was the first chest, that's actually pretty likely here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would assume he doesn't know the bomb jump that's in the hookshot, that hookshot room that you normally hookshot across with all the red berries. So, probably why it's sending him back here. So he is never going to Catfish. He's never going to T-Rock. Which I don't blame him. It's one of those, it's really far out of the way. And that's the thing is, like, with the gamble, you can't go back on a gamble. You just kind of got to keep sticking with it and hope it never becomes a thing. But gamercal does find his big key in kind of a... It's still a better location than the cutscene chest, the vanilla chest, but still kind of a obnoxious location because you kind of have to 50-50 it.
Yeah, you go a pretty long way around.
Oh, by the way, I know this glitch. I can't perform it because I've never like tried to learn it, but I'm aware of what it is. I was just merely joking. Yes, that thing that I do sometimes. But let's see if he does it. I'm really excited. You done got.
Well, don't get got here in this room. You got to make sure that you don't get hit by this spike because that's a lot of hearts you don't want to take. And so when you set up the glitch, you're just going to hit that sprite, any sprite really that's active on the screen, and that's when the displacement of the fire rod takes effect. So you can actually shoot through a wall pretty much in this room. So we'll do it in 3 rooms in a row. We'll do it one more time to hit the crystal switch north of this staircase here.
Gosh, it's so stupid, and I love it. Like, it just actually looks dumb that works. It's pretty great. But I mean, we've seen what? We've seen water walks, we've seen fake flippers, we've seen potion camera manipulation. The only thing we didn't see today was what? Houlihan and some Super Bunny action. That's about it.
Pretty much. I mean, that spooky action glitch, though, it saves approximately, what, 7 years?
Basically.
And, well, no, that's a bad Ocarina of Time reference, really. But gamercal's gonna finish off Vitreous, and that is everything we need for Ganon's Tower, isn't it? So, folks, if you are fans of this channel and watch Randomizer, you know what time it is. There are 22 items in Ganon's Tower. One of those is going to be the big key. We need to find that big key to scale the tower and slay the pig himself. So get your guesses in chat. You have until we see gamercal enter the basement on our side before we'll cut that off. So, Willard, where do you think we're going to find that big key today?
You know, I haven't seen it in the rando room in a while, so let's put it in, like, the top right chest or something.
All right, I like it. I'm a big fan of Bob myself. Dr. Bob-tastic out there probably likes me for that one. So I think 14 if you go right then left. But chat, let us know what you think it's going to be. If you're the first one to guess it right and you're a supporter of speed gaming, be that a subscriber or 250 bits across any of the channels, you have an opportunity to be entered into our leaderboard as well. But of course, if you haven't, no big deal. Love to see your answers. Feel free to participate. It's fun little game.
So Smight in hand with his Ice Rod, going to be heading back up to Turtle Rock. He still has to finish the latter half of it, the second half of it, and then take out trying to get his green pendant, head over to Sahasrara to get his Quake Medallion, and then head on into Mire, and we know where the boss key is in there, so probably not going to be getting that right away. I do anticipate, well, it depends. If Big Key is early, I keep using both names. If Big Key is early in G-Tower, then I could see gamercal finishing before Smight makes it into GT. But we'll see. It could be Tile Room, which, as is tradition, Tile Room is always last.
But go ahead and get your last guesses in, folks. We're about to cut it off in just a moment.
Number 2! All right. Cal, go get your small key. There you go.
All right, but please don't be a small key in the torch. Come on, we gotta let Bob live.
Bugnet! Bob lives.
Well, Bob is ordained or predestined. I don't know, the Bugnet of Destiny, simply smiling on him today. Not on Smight, though. Smite's in Turtle Rock now, and probably, yeah, we saw the slashes on the bridge. Probably feeling the frustration at this point.
Wow, I can't believe it. Nobody even guessed the number 2. You guys gotta get good. Actually, someone did. Alright, the bot's just bad then. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about this gauntlet. So, silver arrows in hand, butter sword. He never got that red. Where was that? Red mail was in Peg Cave. He never went there. So, blue mail in hand. Half magic. Let's see what he opts to do. I feel like the players that have half magic will usually switch to Fire Rod to kind of get through the gauntlet, or some people will just rely on their trusty sword.
Yeah, and with the sword that we do have, pretty straightforward to do. gamercal having a little bit of trouble here in Ganon Ball Z. Hopefully getting through, yeah, a little bit better the second time there.
I do believe at some point he did pick up a bottle with a fairy in it. Might be wrong.
I believe so.
Sitting at 2.5 hearts, he seems like he's just cruising comfortably.
I was gonna say, I mean, kind of gutsy to do that. I mean, even if you have the fairy, I mean, that does cost you some time for the death animation, and you know, you got to go through most of the tower without anything else. I mean, I guess there is the fairy opportunity in the next room. Smight has checked Mimic Cave, and gamercal skipping the Bunny Beam had an opportunity to get a fairy there. Well, it might have taken 2 cycles, but Lamolus 2 is taken care of. gamercal down to 2 hearts here, opting to use his Canis Mario, of course, for these Wizrobes in the next 2 rooms. Meanwhile, Smite's making his way to the basement of Turtle Rock, has the platform room coming up ahead, and is about to be heading to Trinox Shore again. So I suppose the biggest threat to gamercal at this moment is the Moldorm 2 fight, I guess.
Biggest threat as in... I'd say he's got all the time in the world right now. He could even despawn G-Tower and still be fine.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he could rescale the tower at this point. I'm thinking more along the lines of time loss.
It is pretty impressive, though, his time right now, despite beating every single dungeon in the game. And we determined that Skullwoods was completely useless. Thieves Town, you only need to get the hookshot in the very first chest. But everything else needed to be completed. Oh, I'm getting that lovely frame roll. Not on his favor. Not on his side. Taking a hit from Moldorm there.
Yeah, frame rules where you have a 1 in 4 chance of being lucky, unlucky, or who knows, superposition of the two.
I think like the worst cases are dashing through Moldorm or dashing into your bird. What do you call the flute? You just dash right through him. Like,
that ball just feels terrible.
Yeah.
Or like the stupid fire snake and Misery Mire.
Oh gosh, yeah, that one's annoying too. Let's see what kind of Agatu gamercal can show us. This is had a potential of a triple, but grabbing a 2 not going to be too bad. I hate to see those blue balls.
He may need to work on his trigonometry.
You might need to. But fishing off with a 2-1-2-1, 4-cycle Aga, pretty standard. I'd say about average cycles normally. Be fun to go back and like see how many cycles it took on average for every player in the entire tournament. Someone want to go do that? Want to go crunch the numbers? It's pretty exciting stuff.
Nevertheless, though, Smight has the green pendant, now has access to the last remaining item for Go Mode. Meanwhile, gamercal is entering the Ganon fight at 145.30.
Yeah, Buttersword in hand is just real quick, 6 slashes followed by 6 slashes or dashes. I honestly prefer the dash strats for phase 2 because they look cool and they feel cool running into Ganon with a sword.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like the ultimate taunt. You're just right in his face. You know, you got a Johnny Cash Ring of Fire in front of me, and no big deal. I'm just gonna keep stabbing you.
Not a big deal. I am unfazed. And as gamercal is getting through phase 3, Smight does now enter Go Mode with his Quake Medallion from Sahasrara and you know, paint him his favors with some bombs.
I think you remember the bomb boost from the hash at the beginning of the seed. All 3 of them, and opted to give him a bomb for each of them. gamercal is finishing up his Ganon fight, though. He's got just 1 or 2 more arrows, I believe.
Man, that's gonna do it. I was a little worried about that fire bat, but fortunately it knocked him in the safe direction, not into the hole, but into the middle. So not a big deal, but congratulations to gamercal. As soon as he walks through that door, he will be the winner of this match, of this set as well, and we'll be moving on to top 32. Let's get you GGs in chat, and we'll bring him on in here for his fancy interview.
Wow, and no delays whatsoever. Looks like he's already in the waiting room.
He's ready to talk about the seat, I'm sure.
Alright, well, I'll pull him on in here right away. And we are joined by the victor of the race today, gamercal. Congratulations and GG.
Oh, thank you. I got away with murder on that scene. What was that?
It was one of those, like, the late mitts was kind of bad, but then at the end of the day, it turned out to be good because then you got Ether and Ice Rod, and which Smight did not the first time he went up to do Dark World Death Mountain. So he ended up having to triple dip T-Rock.
Ouch.
Because he got Ether, went in, got Flippers bailed, then had to go. So he had to double dip it, but it was a triple dip up to Dark World Death Mountain. Just missing that Ice Rod kind of put him really far behind, and he was leading for pretty much a good chunk of the race. And it really just came down to that Quake Medallion. Like that was I figured I was completely hosed half an hour in because I knew that Zora basically had tapped the Moon Pearl. It was either Moon Pearl or Flippers at that point, and yeah, I effectively knew he had tapped the Moon Pearl just for the way everything was set up.
but I was already at Bonkrocks, and I had the tools to go, further into Death Mountain stuff. So it's like I may as well just do it anyway. I know that I need to go to Zora at some point, but maybe I get something else that's good up here, like I don't know, a mirror or something. Would be kind of nice.
Yeah, I'm sure you were feeling behind, but you guys actually did the exact same thing, both getting to Zora around the same time, I think.
Yeah.
The big difference maker was he went Hype Cave to Pod, Hype Cave Pyramid Pod, while you went what?
Everywhere but
everywhere. Yeah. I'd say aside from obviously getting the late mitts to get earlier Ice Rod to actually get Quake from whatever, blah blah blah. The biggest thing that I pulled away from this race in general was all the bomb jumps and water walks that you pulled off in this run, which eventually saved you quite a bit of time.
Yeah, most of them worked, some of them didn't. I kind of walked a bit too far in Spectacle Rock, otherwise that would have been a really nice one. But yeah, there's a lot. I figured the only two ways that I was going to be able to do anything with this one was one, if that flute was a significant advantage, which it was because the flippers were so far blocked away that there wasn't much that you could do about it. So just having that flute from away from Catfish to go elsewhere sort of thing was really good. And the only other one was basically the YOLO into Turtle Rock. And there's nothing else I can call it. It was an all-in play. There was no way that, no way I could do much else. Because thinking by the logic, I only had the Blacksmith Chain as the other thing that I could do at that point.
Yeah,
so
which ended up being nothing.
Yeah, so it was
had a tunic. That's it.
Oh, right, okay. Well, thankfully I didn't need that in the end. But yeah, it was either do that for 2 items, 3 items actually, because the purple chest, or go for Dark Death Mountain, get the 6 in there, and then just dive Turtle Rock, because I knew I was going to have access to it. That, it was one of those seeds. There was pretty much no way I wasn't having access. So if the only way that I could see myself getting back into it was if there was something key in there. And the flippers was pretty much the most key thing that I could think of being in there. So, can't do much for that. But I thought, well, it's green pendant. I may as well just full clear this. I know pedestal is nothing, but I may as well just full clear it anyway, because that's only the first item in the dungeon. There was like 4 more plus the green pendant, plus Mimic Cave left. It's like, just do it. If the bow is here, you're pretty much done anyway. So
yeah, I mean it's a tough call to make, because it's like, oh, good, flippers. Now I could go do another awful dungeon, Swamp Palace.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But if I invest a little bit more time to finishing this dungeon, maybe, just maybe, I can find the ability to go boat Swamp, and that Quake Medallion could have been in Swamp.
Yep.
It could have been at Blacksmith, but fortunately luck was on your side, and it was at Sahasrara, so...
Yeah, definitely. So I could have checked Maya before going up, and obviously the flute being out of logic was pretty much the reason not to, because I was expecting 2/3 chance, especially finding Bombos going back into Tower Hero, saying, well, I'm probably good on this anyway, and I don't want to dive this if I could go mode it. So let's try and avoid that at the moment and just stick
that makes sense.
Stick with what I know as a play. And so and then when it came to Swamp versus Ice, it was more a case of, I know that Smight doesn't know the Water Warp because we were talking about this, so I'm expecting the way round that would happen would be Swamp Palace to then get the flute and then go into Ice. So I figured if it's in Ice, I can save a little bit of time there, do the Ice Palace stuff first, because I've already got said flute. And luckily for me, it worked out.
Yeah, and conveniently, with the big key being in the first chest, that could have been it even... I mean, you could have go moded Ice too, real quick.
Yeah,
but you're not gonna. But no, you're not gonna check Sahasrara before going to Ice Palace. Like, that's just dumb.
No,
it's just not convenient at all.
You need that bow first before you go back to those dungeons. So yeah, it could have been the play, but again, it was more hoping that Todoroki itself would have had the second item I wanted, rather than, it being Sahashala. But it's what I've said a lot of times, though. Stick to your plays, and just, if you're committing to going for a dungeon, like Pendant Skull Woods in this case, I was going for that so I could do the waterwalk stuff. Commit to it. Do the full thing, because if you don't, you might well end up just missing that one item you really, really wanted.
Yeah, every play is a gamble. Every play is a choice. And such as Smight choosing to pick up the bug net on the torch, thus killing Bob. That was his purpose. It's crazy to think. I was talking about this earlier, how exciting Randomizer is to watch in general, just because of how one-sided this match seemed for so long, with Smight getting the mitts early and getting the bow early. We were like, gamercal needs these really ridiculous plays to work out, otherwise it's over for him. And then it went from basically Smight being super in the lead to all of a sudden, flip of a coin, all of a sudden gamercal in a huge, tremendous lead, cannot even get back from it kind of lead. It's all it takes. It's just one decision or one location to turn everything upside down.
Yeah, there's so many times where it's like, this person's in so much trouble, aren't they? And then, they're doing all these checks that aren't yielding anything. Ether, that's not necessarily that useful. Ice Rod, well, Todoroki's a pendant. There's no way that's going to be necessary, right? And then, all it takes is just one thing being in a really, really, really stupid location. And suddenly it's, as you say, turn around entirely. And it's just, oh, that's... how?
The crazy thing was, Smight, on his way back, after getting Ether, actually went ahead and did Hera Basement before going to T-Rock to get the flippers. And had Meyer been Bombos or Ether, it would have been over. That would have been it. He would have been in go mode with those flippers, so... Because he bailed as soon as we got the flippers, and... took that choice, took that gamble. So it's crazy how the seed could have played out differently.
Right, yeah.
But this is the seed we got, and despite how awful it was overall, at least you got Big Key in chest number 2.
Yeah, that definitely sealed the sub 150, and I was happy to see that.
And you showed us that you had a heart. You weren't going to kill Bob today.
I don't believe in the SwagNet, I'm sorry. It's not something I subscribe to. I can't actually really use it nearly as well as Sakura can, so I'm gonna leave it on there. That's all there is to it.
Bugnet isn't even marked on the trackers, so it's
exactly
that insignificant. Who cares? It's just a thing.
Exactly. See, you understand.
Well, I have an unrelated question for you, gamercal. We mentioned it briefly. We were talking about it very briefly earlier on. What kind of setup do you use for your gameplay? Do you play on a console emulator?
I play on BizHawk myself. I initially used SNES 9X, but it's got horrendously bad input lag. I've been told it's about 4 frames, maybe even more. So there's a lot of times where even just item dashing and stuff I could not handle whatsoever. It was inconsistent as all get out. But then I got told about BizHawk, and my computer can handle it pretty well, and it has about half the delay, so I can generally do everything at this point without too much issue. So
now I just gotta get you on the hover train.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that probably isn't really doable with emulation stuff, unless you use the keyboard, maybe. But I don't know. Some people are crazy with that, so could happen.
There's a shield in the chest before Moldern too. All right, that's one of the things we were looking for. Yeah, the only things we never found were, I guess, the mirror shield, the red boomerang, and the 4th bottle. So. Oh, we did see the 4th bottle. Wasn't it on Lumberjack?
No, that was
10 arrows. Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different seed then. Oh wait, that was my seed yesterday. Never mind. Sorry.
It's okay. We remember our own experiences the most, so.
Yeah. That's it.
Certainly
So,
not the bottle you want to have to pick up, though.
At this point, gamercal, who do you want? Do you want Almagus or do you want TGH? Because you got a bit of a doozy for round 32.
Alright, if you want the one I think I could beat or probably Almagus, but honestly, I kind of want another crack at TGH because he's one of the only two people who beat me in Swiss, and I really feel like I could have taken that game if I didn't play atypically, so I kind of want another crack, not gonna lie.
You want your revenge?
I mean, I'm not gonna get it, but it's
I mean, you could at least get a game, right? Would that be good enough?
That would be the hope.
Okay.
No, but like realistically speaking, I've been a lot closer to Almagus in past races than I have TGH, so that's why I say it that way. But both of them are insanely good, and there's probably not much chance I'm gonna take either of them down. But we just have to try our best. You know, that's all you can really do in this spot.
Well, you know, the skill threshold's very high here at the lower, I guess, or the last few rounds of this tournament. And gamercal, I mean, you got to this point, you know, through playing hard, playing well. I don't think you're out of contention here to win this thing. I mean, yeah, you gotta have a little more faith in yourself.
Well, here's hoping, anyway. I got pretty much as far as I hoped I would get from this, based on the way the Duke bracket's set up. So let's just see what happens from here.
I'd say as well, you played this seed about the best I think anyone possibly could have. Only minor differences maybe could have been skipping all of Skullwoods. And yeah, that's about it, because everything else was a good call. I mean, even you never know. Like, Blind could have had the flippers the whole time. I don't know.
Yeah,
So.
well, I mean, there's another thing of stick to your plays sort of thing, because that was actually something in the past that has tripped people up as well, is when, you know, Thieves Town has got an item and you only do first four.
Hashtag never bail.
Yep.
Well, GG's again, man. This was a really fun race. It was kind of a doozy. Whew. So, congratulations on making it into top 32. Smight right now about to sink 4 arrows into our good friend Ganon.
Yep, that was the first 2 in separate cycles, and the light went out on him before that 4th shot, though. He's going to plant that last arrow in again here. Well, just a fanfare to play for Super Meat Boy Sprite here, and a Smight here will finish with an official Speed Racing TV time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 51 seconds. GG's in chat, folks.
GG's. Go ahead and bring him in. Welcome, Smight, to the Voice channel.
Hello.
How you feeling after that one? That was a seed.
Standard seed for me, honestly.
Yeah. It was.
I admire the optimism. You know, as far as this goes, I mean, you have 100% seeds every now and then, and this sure feels like one, doesn't it?
Every seed for me. They're all. I'm used to this one. I was thinking about water walking over to that flute because I just learned how to do that because I knew I was playing against gamercal, and I'm sure he did that. But
Oh, I see. So, so show
like
me up then.
Yeah, I was watching your videos to learn how to do it. So yeah, but I feel like I would have even lost time if I did that because I was so off the mark going to Turtle Rock when I did without the ice rod. I would have probably done the entire thing looking for Quake because I would have known I needed Quake, and then I would have had to go do it again, even more.
It was one of those scenarios where, like, if Quake had been anywhere else other than Sahasrara, like, that would have been it. It would have been over, basically. Like, or if Meyer ended up being Bombos or either, because you did go back and do Para Basement, got Bombos, and all that
I was
stuff.
hoping it was Bombos. I thought that was my big chance, is if it was Bombos.
Mm-hmm. But the Rando gods decided, nope, we're gonna make you do basically every dungeon. Have fun.
Oh, that was
Get out there.
I was turning in the green pendant, racking my brain if I missed something else because I would have had to forfeit because I had no idea what else was left. I think I got everything.
I think so, yeah. I don't think any chest was left unopened aside from in G Tower, and maybe a couple in Mire.
Well, see, Ganon's tower was nice at least.
Yeah, it made up for how awful this scene was.
Also, with that, of course, that is the last match of the tournament for you as of now, Smight. But I believe you also play other modes like open mode and possibly others. Were you thinking about doing the likely open mode tournament later on in the year?
I miss open. I'll never play this mode again, probably. I miss open mode a lot. Sometimes I start with bombs and I just completely blow it and lose time. I hate it. So
Yes, he was pretty generous with the hammer in the very second chest or third chest overall. Saying,
Yeah,
hey, put that burner away, and then you find Canis Mario later as well, which was pretty comical.
I didn't mind that at all. That was nice. I did mind Zora though.
Yeah, well, it was funny because you guys both made the exact same play of bonk rocks to sequence break Death Mountain.
Oh
And
man,
then Mir was there, so it's like, okay, well, let's keep going.
I really-
Taravera, East Death Mountain. Oh, good, a potion. Well, let's go check.
I think
Well,
my
Cal
biggest
checked
mistake. My biggest mistake was going to Pyramid and then Pod and not Catfish, because I would have gone to Pod right after, and then I would have gone to Turtle Rock immediately. I think that would have changed everything that I did so much that I actually would have had a shot.
It
That was the big mistake I made.
As we were telling Cal when he got in for his interview, it was one of those situations where, like, sometimes early mitts are bad, or worse, or like a worse situation, because Cal basically did everything he could before going to Pod. So he got Ether earlier, he got Ice Rod from Catfish, so he had the means to full clear T-Rock the first time he went up there. And yeah, it's just how it happened to go. Everything could have been behind the mitts and would have worked out. So it's kind of like it's kind of a toss-up. Like sometimes you're like, oh, good mitts, now I can route everything a little bit more efficiently. But then, oh, now I can do Ice Palace, or now I can do Dark Death Mountain. I could check a few more locations than I could before. So then you have a more tendency to put off locations like Catfish, which is arguably, not even arguably, it is most certainly probably the worst location in the entire game, just in general, I think. It's impossible to route to unless you can do like a Catfish into Zora check, which unfortunately we couldn't in this one unless you... No, because you couldn't, unless you did Dark Aga for whatever reason. That's the only way you could have done that.
I felt like the only time I got a break was when I found the bow, and I went to capitalize on it, and I didn't get anything out of it. And then I was worried about what to do next.
Yeah, we saw you actually, even go back into Ice Palace, which, assuming you didn't do the bomb jump, like the hookshot room bomb jump, to check those 3 chests on the right side.
Yeah, I knew there was an item left in there because I just ended up not going that way for some reason. I didn't have the hook shot and I didn't feel like trying to mess with the jump, so I ended up skipping one. I was hoping the boss would have it and he didn't, so I had to go back in.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go up to Turtle Rock without making sure the ice rod was in there.
I mean, it's a rough bomb jump to go for if you can't get it, because then you're kind of stuck there without any way of getting out unless you mirror out or take a death or just miraculously learn it on the spot and get it. So it's
I've done it
understandable.
before, but I think it's the one that's the worst for me. I don't want to mess with it in a race.
I'll teach you the spin strats for it sometime. There's a really straightforward setup for it, but yeah, I'll teach you the strats for it sometime then.
Yeah, overall, that
congratulations.
was...
Gamer
Oh,
Cal?
sorry. Go ahead.
You go ahead.
I
I
was
just want to say
saying-
good game.
Yeah, definitely. What a stupid seed to have to go out on here. Ah, dear.
My
Yeah, that
second
was-
2-hour seed in this tournament.
Oh, really? Oh, that's rough.
Did you say it was
I-
only your second one?
Yeah, I won the other one. It was like 2 hours and 4 minutes. It was gross.
Was it
Different-
worse or better than this one?
I would
I
say
can-
worse. I mean, I don't mind doing Turtle. I got somehow numb to doing Turtle Rock. So if you send me in there like 8 times, I won't complain anymore for some reason. So I didn't mind this one too much.
Well, I mean, as annoying as the seed was to deal with, I imagine, as a runner, it was definitely a fantastic show for us to watch. Both of you putting on a display of, various skills, various knowledge, and making decisions that, gave us all stuff to think about. So, I mean, I want to personally thank both of you for putting on this race for us today. It was really fun to watch and commentate.
I did get to do some unconventional stuff at least, so it was quite nice. There was a few bits that you don't get to see very often, so that water sport to get the flute was pretty nice, and I even got the spooky action. Like, I still am not very good at getting it in the middle room where you bomb the wall, but got it this time, so I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We were making fun of it in a good way. It's a stupid
bet you
glitch,
were.
but it's really cool.
Yeah, we like to remind people all the time this game is perfectly coded, the original base game, of course.
Yeah, once again, want to thank you guys both, and congratulations, Cal, and just congratulations to both you guys for making it this far in the tournament.
I'm happy with it.
512 tourney, out at top 64. That's pretty good. Especially for both you guys. I know both of you have been in previous tournaments. I think, Smight, were you in the fall tournament or secondary? I don't remember which one.
I was in secondaries, I think.
Okay. So, and I know Cal has been working hard to do better in tournaments. So
Yeah, this is the furthest I've made it. The first tourney I've made it past the first round setup basically, and it's as far as I've gone so far. Let's hope beyond hope that we can go a bit further, but we'll see.
there you go. So yeah, congratulations to both you guys for just making it this far. It's amazing what you can do in a randomized video game. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you to Udemonistic for letting me join him on commentary. Yes, a lot of fun.
Thank
And
you
of
for
course-
blessing me with your presence. Oh my goodness, it's like talking to some star power.
I should be asleep. And of course, thank you to Dude for tracking this race for us. Shouts to him and everyone behind the scenes for putting this together. And of course, all you folks out there for watching. If you guys enjoyed, of course, stay tuned for plenty more speed gaming action, as well as randomizer action on these channels for the rest of the day, week, and month, and years to come, probably. So, you guys take it easy.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you next mission.